sermon introduction, what role does that play in touching on how the people are walking in, the mundane, the diapers and the dishwashing, and then to guide them into the glories of the gospel?
I shouldn't pontificate here because there's so many different ways people start sermons. And I'm not a big believer in introductions.
No, that's why I asked.
That's terrible to say because, I mean, you referred to Martin Lloyd-Jones. Martin Lloyd-Jones begins every sermon with a big, this is the most important thing you have ever heard in your life. And I asked Ian Murray one time, I said, how can Martin Lloyd-Jones contradict himself every week by saying this is the most important thing? And Ian Murray said, that Sunday it was the most important.
Absolutely.
But he has a stylized beginning to say something big about the world, big about culture, big about God, and then I want to draw your attention to Romans chapter 6, verse 1. Same every week. Jonathan Edwards did exactly the same thing. He had a stylized way of starting a sermon to set the bigger exegetical stage and go to the text and the doctrine and the application. I'm just so not into that. I'm asking the Lord every week, how can I get these people? And generally it's bang, I'm into it. With something, really? Something from the text that looks odd. Like, I'm going to solve this problem for you. So my general approach is create a problem and solve it. Now, in your sermon, which we'll get to, but I wasn't going to talk about your introduction, but I will now, you took a totally different approach. You're going to talk about the Psalms. You gave it the title, The Song of the Cross. Psalm 22. And you began by saying, your music is the soundtrack of your life, or music can be a soundtrack of your life. Right. The Psalm is sung, it's music, and can provide a soundtrack of your life. Then you get some illustrations of the kind of music you like and whatnot, which was, I would have never thought of that approach, which I'll bet, your people leaning in to say, okay, how's the music I like and I have in my playlists that provides kind of the soundtrack of my life relate to a psalm becoming the soundtrack of my life or Jesus' life? So there's another example. I mean, there's just hundreds of ways to do it. And frankly, I think we should just pray for freshness. And you'll probably have your default. You sound like you're going to be a culture guy. You're going to probably start with some piece of relevant, these people are doing this, and I don't know what your defaults might be, but my default is the second half of verse 1 says all. Really?
Right.
Can't mean all, can it? Because of over this, here's a problem. My approach to preaching is that people don't think until they have a problem, and they love it when you solve the problems they already have, and they love it also when you create problems that they don't have, which they should have, and solve them for them. So